Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Len. This video is going to cover the building of the off-road trailer fiberglass top, which you can partially see here. It's still covered because we still have a bit of snow coming. It is 100% waterproof. The tarp was off for a while as I did some other work on the inside and I needed a bit of light to come in. But with the bit of snow and rain coming, and there's still a small opening at the back because I haven't put the back window in yet. So yeah, it's one video of how I built this. Cut up a couple other ones, how I glassed them back together. I did eliminate all the B-roll stuff of cutting, grinding, and putting the chop mat and resin on. You can see how I do that in some of the previous Jeep camper builds. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this. Over the past few years, if you watch some of the other videos I did back when I was building the off-road trailer, you would have heard Puff, our big male turkey, in the background quite often. He liked to talk to the tools or some of the dogs if they were playing at the pool. He was very, very talkative, very friendly turkey, and he was a pet. Puff passed away, lives the fall of 2023. He was about 10 years old. I guess that's a pretty good life for a pet turkey. Hey, Puff. What's up? What are you doing? That's a boy. He is laid to rest in the wildflower garden, helping to provide nutrition to the wildflowers for the birds and the butterflies. So nature, continuing to provide for nature, that's how we look at it. Remember him every day. I sort of miss him when I don't have him to chat with me as I'm working on projects. But so if you were familiar with hearing Puff, or like we call them, Puff-a-doodle-doo, he had numerous names depending on who you were. But yeah, so he's missed in the videos too. There's lots of laughs. But anyhow, rest in peace, Puff. And again, thanks for watching. So here it is on its wheels. A lot of the interior's done. All the electrical's working for the brakes, tail lights, marker lights, etc. So just right now, I just have some old fiberglass truck toppers covering it with a tarp, because there is no top yet. So the top has changed from being a pop-up with canvas, just because the price of canvas, and the person locally that can do that for me has gotten ridiculous in price, like tripled. So what I'm going to do, because I've now gotten much better with doing the fiberglassing with the truck toppers that I've picked up, as you can see on my camper truck, on my Gladiator. So what's going to happen for the topper, it's going to be about 14 inches taller than how the trailer exists, and I'm going to be using parts of this topper, this fiberglass rail, even though it looks like crap right now. I'm going to be cleaning it up so that it's hard to explain, but there's a very thick layer of glass here, which is, once this is trimmed and all this junk is taken out, this is old wood, so it used to be wood. That's how they stiffen these and give you a thicker surface for mounting on a truck bed. So I'll be taking this, cleaning it up, and then that should give me, if you think that this here, without this lip, that will give me a lip so that this edge actually sits down over the camper lid, and that's going to have I might make a rubber seal and just bolt it on for now, so if I eventually want to make a pop-up style, it's easy to just take apart. Or I might just seal it good with some of the bonding agents I have, fiberglass to aluminum, no problem, and just make it permanent. It won't give me stand-up height inside. It'll give me about 5'6", which I'm fine with. Thing isn't meant to live in, as in stand up in, but we'll see. So it's just a process now, chopping this up. And and I'll take you along for that bit of the build. So now you can see here the channel. That's with the fiberglass. I'm taking all this, it's basically part. It's just chipboard, really glued in well. So I'm using crowbar and a few other tools, clean it out. So now you see this one's all the wood's cleaned out. So it's pretty rotten. So this edge here, this half-inch edge is going to get cut off. That leaves this flat surface, which would be about right here. When it's flipped over, sits on the top of the trailer. With this lip, which is about 3/4 of an inch or an inch, will actually hang over. So it'll give me a drip rail, and then from this, you gotta think of it upside down. From this, I will build the top onto. Now I'm gonna do the other one. I'm gonna let this dry in the tent for a few days, and then I'm gonna take the flap disc and clean this all up. And if I have to stiffen this up a bit, I'll just run 2 layers of 4-inch fiberglass cloth and resin, and that'll really stiffen that up if I need to. Just now using the flap disc. See, these are all cleaned up. There's some weak spots. A couple of holes, that's no problem. Putting tape underneath and doing my fiberglassing. I'm going to stiffen these up. They're probably okay, but I'd rather them be a bit thicker. So, so I'm going to actually do 2 layers of 4-inch cloth or 3-inch cloth and resin. I'm going to do them completely before I cut them to size, because I don't. This is 8 foot long, and my box that I believe at 60. It's hard to see up in here at about 67 inches. I think right about here. My box starts to take a little bit of a curve, so I need to get those. Okay, so now I've cleaned this up real well. What I want to do is, it's hard to see here, but it's a pretty rough seam here. A lot of pits and all that. So I've cleaned it up and wiped it down with acetone. So what I'm going to use, mix up some Bondo glass, and I'm going to create a really nice bead in here, so when I do put glass on, I have a nice contour for the fiberglass, because we're going to stiffen this up with 2 layers and run it up to here. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I've got my Bondo mixed up, my short strand. I've got my 2 spreading tools. This one's got a curve to it, so that's perfect for my fillet. So I'm just going to start wadding some in and get it in. Look, I made this so it cures pretty quick. So I'm just going to slop it into a few spots, spread it a bit. Hopefully I've made enough. So the camera's wiggling. All right, so there we go. I got that. Now I'm gonna spread it into the. Pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just filling that gap in. I'll come back in about 10 minutes and 15 minutes, that'll be cured, and I'll put another small layer on. So now I've got fillet of all that in through here. So now when I put the fiberglass on and the resin, it will have a much nicer contour. It won't be a sharp edge. There's the top of the camper. So what I'm going to do is cut these side rails that I've made and utilized from other toppers. This one here is already cut. So this piece here is going to be the passenger backside. That's the other half of that one. So you see these are already being rebuilt. Still need to be trimmed up, but they're super solid now. So I'll show you how this will go. So that basically will go like that. So that's overhanging my aluminum trim, so by about 3/4 of an inch. Then the trailer starts to curve in a few degrees here. So it's okay. There's a nice gap there that make almost like a drip. So we'll be now cutting the pieces, glassing them back together to make the outside frame. Okay, so I've been working on the top trim piece. So you can see it's all glass back together. Yeah, it always looks rough in the beginning. Here's the corners, a bit of work. Eventually this will be cut on a bit of an angle to match this one here. Is about a 3/4 inch difference. So we'll just cut it like that. That gives you an idea of how the top trimming starts. Whoops, I forgot to put glass on the outside here. It's okay because it's on the inside. I'll show you the inside in a second. So there, these are all glassed together. And on the inside, you can see all the pieces are glassed. Let me see if I zoom in here. So all the connections. So here's the top frame. So it's all level and it's secured in place, like so it doesn't change shape any. So it's lightly screwed in to some fence boards. So I don't want to screw it down too tight and cause this to twist, because this has to stay flat. These boards here are for bringing over the other top. So I'm going to bring the other top over. It's going to rest on there, and then as I cut it to size, what I'm hoping to do, so I want about probably 16 to 18 inches, and then, but it's currently 24 or 26, I can't remember. So I'm going to put the other top on, which originally sat here, but I want it to slide over here because this is actually 4 inches narrower at the back than the topper is, because this comes from the topper, or the back part comes from the top, the front comes from another one. So we're going to put the topper on top of the wood. Gives me an idea of where I have to cut. So my real flimsy sawhorse is crashed to the ground. They're just too flimsy and whatever. But nothing broke. I think one of the fiberglass joints came apart. No big deal. All right, so there it is. Up on the frame, you can see how it's too wide. A little bit at the back on both sides. But that I already knew. Start figuring out where the cuts will be. As you can see, it gets narrower at the front. That's sitting off center, but you can see down there the top gets narrower, which actually almost blends in right about here. We'll see. Be interesting. I want to try and keep this front glass, probably right about where it is, and then somehow bring the front taper down a little bit. Again, we'll see. It's a process. Okay, after about 7 hours of working on this the other day, it's been raining, so I haven't worked on it in a couple of days. So I've got this side panel in the top corner, part of this side panel. So I've got the contour all figured out. So you just cut pieces out, trim them the size, move them into where they need to go. I'm using this block of wood as an alignment from here to there. Just clamp it, and so again I use all these little screws just to hold things together. Now I'm going to remove them all because I'm going to reuse those screws in numerous places. So now I'm going to make one big piece to go on here. Now this is a very thin piece, so but because this is recessed about 3/8 of an inch, I just use a small piece or a thin piece, and then this will be one great big solid piece. Well, probably to here. I have to split it because that's where the curve is. So it'll be a solid piece all the way to here, then another piece probably just sort of blended to here, because I don't want to make this solid yet because this curve here into the nose. So just coming along. I'll work on it for about 2 hours tonight. Once I get this side done, then I duplicate, or very close to duplicate, the other side. It doesn't have to be symmetrical because you don't look at both sides at the same time. So that's how it's going. Oh, of course everything's held together with Bondo glass. Picked it up at Princess Auto when it's on sale. I'll use probably 3 of those, so $100 in Bondo material, probably another $100 in fiberglass chop mat, 2 and 4 inch cloth, and 1, maybe 2 gallons or 3 liters of resin. So most of the structure's done. The patches are in. A lot of the long strand is in. It's got a corners to work on there. A little bit of work. Most of the back's in. Just putting a small. Most of this is going to be cut out across the back because I'm hoping to find an RV window that'll open up or slide. And the other side's pretty much done. So it's just a couple of small pieces to put in here and there. Now the trickier part is getting the front to look right. I'd already started a different one underneath here. I just wasn't liking it. So I've got another old topper that I just cut in half. I'm going to use this one, so it's already sort of held into place. So now I cut these pieces out. So this was basically here. So what I'll do now is I'll cut that up and then bring the side piece back in and blend it like that. That's sort of the thought. We'll see. A little bit of work. Okay, so I've been picking away at different pieces, getting pieces on for the last week, just a couple hours here and there. Only when it warms up to like plus 13 Celsius. I still have the front to design and some odd patches here and there. It's about the same on both sides. This here I put on a final layer chop mat, and it's sort of feathered into the corners. I use a spoon to give me that contour. So that'll be quickly sanded with the 60 grit on the flap disc. This side, all that's done. Again, there's a patch needs to be put in there. The back has to be finished, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing yet here at the bottom of the window. I'll probably just blend it down. Anyhow, so I have to get fiberglass cloth on, because when it cools down at night, what's happening is my long strand is cracking because of it's warming up in the daytime, expansion and contraction with temperature. So I'm getting hair cracks, which I don't like. So I'm gonna now, this whole side, everywhere that's prepped, it doesn't look the best, all these different colors, but that's the process. I'm now gonna get a layer of 2 and 4 inch fiberglass cloth tape and resin on all these seams, and then I'll start working on these final patches, but I need to get this secured together. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. Okay, working on these front corners. So you can see we got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 different angles all coming together here on 5 different pieces. Still a hole to fill in here. That's an easy one. So this side looked the same. So what I'm doing is I take some real thin fiberglass. This came off a real old one that had 2 very thin layers with honeycomb cardboard. You can take the cardboard off. This is very, very thin, like just maybe a 1/16. Very flexible, as you can see. I take the cardboard off and I crazy glue this into my shape. It's just a little bit of a curve here. Then I'm adding some tape in the back for these larger holes. Usually I use drywall tape because it peels off the Bondo long strand real easy. Even fiberglass resin doesn't stick to it well, but I'm out of it, so I'm using red duct tape. So now I'm going to clean up my edges and put in some fiberglass long strand. This eventually just get blended and shaped. So I'm going to fill that in, then I'm going to blend this in to it. So we'll get a nice curve here. Then I'll do the other one. Try and keep it as close to looking as possible. It's not perfect. This side is almost 100% done. It's already had resin put on it and some chop mat. So like I'll put chop mat, 1 layer of chop mat where I got corners blending like here, here, here. There's like 5 corners all come together, so I'll do chop mat. Then I'll do my 4-inch tape on top of that, or cloth on top of that. Okay, so it's I'm gonna say 95% complete with all the pieces. The front corner there. Nice contours. Back. I still have a piece to put on here. Whoops, here to blend in with the window. Back corner. This one's bonded in, so you see there's 1, 2. This is actually the same piece, just glued back together. 3, 4. I should count how many pieces there are, or I might be pressing. And then the other side is, I just have to finish it up here. So what I do to blend this together, like this piece will sit like so. I trim it down at that level there, so they butt together. Overlap it about a 1/2 inch on this piece and use screws while the chop mat is binding them together. Then to get this slope here, I will notch this piece out here and bend it, crack it, and that'll give me very close to the same slope. And then it's a very thick piece, which is good. This whole corner is super thick. But I will shave this down, grind this down, so it sits flusher onto this surface. So this piece goes in first, this piece gets cut, bent, shaved, bent down, and then all bonded and blended in. You see over here, so this actually becomes a very nice smooth transition corner. So I always put the first layer of fiberglass long strand, put it on heavy, squish it into the cracks you can see here. Then I'll come back, so I'll grind that down with a 40 or 60 on the wheel, and then I put another smoother coat layer on and then blend that. Then that'll just get really quickly shaved down with the 40-60. Then I run the resin for the fiberglass. So like in this corner where 4 or 5 pieces come together, I'll do a big piece of chop mat. So I take the gel coat and a little bit of the next fiberglass layer down to give me a bit of a indent. The chop mat will sit on that, in that recess, binds everything together. Then I come back with 2 or 4 inch strips of fiberglass cloth. Chop mat is really good for binding things together. That's why it's used a lot in like subwoofer boxes. It also gives you a smoother finish because the resin breaks down the fibers in the chop mat. Like here's a piece of chop mat. So basically from this corner, this is all one big piece of chop mat with a few other pieces put in to help bind and build up structural strength. So it's now super, super solid. Where the other side that hasn't been done yet, so this side here still has a couple of patches to do, but this side here we can see where, back out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces all come together, and then this has been cut to bend and snap to get into this contour. So all these together, so a piece of chop mat will go here with a few additional pieces and put in for structure. You can see how that, right, compared to how the other side was. So it's coming together. Maybe 3-4 more hours on just getting some of these patchwork pieces in. A little one here. I've already got the pieces I need for it. They just get cut in. Pretty simple, 10 minutes work. Yeah, a few hours, this will be completed. Then it's just a real quick, like here I just quickly sanded that last coat of filler of long strand. Everything is bound together. I've already put fiberglass on here, on these 2 spots, and most of the nose. Just do it real quick, get rid of those high ridges. So anywhere that I'm going to be doing fiberglassing, my brush and my cloth is not catching, like right, I don't know where. If you had a tip sticking up and you're brushing your mat on or your resin, you create maybe another air pocket, which is a weak point. There's one here. So I'll just quickly grind that down. Coming together because I want it to go up on there. So there's the trailer. It's covered with tarp and got some plywood up top to keep the rain off. But for the winter time, I don't want the tarp up there because flapping in the wind, it'll get some leaks. And so here's the fiberglass top. It's completed other than finishing, which I'll worry about in the spring because it's too cold. And it's still open at the back because I've picked up a back window, like an RV window, 32 inches by 13, which will roughly go about here to there. Slide, it'll be at the back. So to get this up onto there, my neighbor's gonna come over. I've got a roller. What we'll do is roll it till the nose is up there. It probably weighs, I'm guessing, about 180 pounds, maybe 200. It's just awkward. So that rail will go up on the edge here, pick this up, put it on top, and then roll it across the top one till we're almost in position, then get inside and just lift it into position. I'm not worried about sealing it on there right now. Main thing is to get it up on top, just to protect the interior from snow and rain over this winter. And then I'm going to back it up against my cave, which I'm right now building a door for. Then I can work on a little bit more of the inside throughout the winter by using the diesel heater. So that's today's project. So I got the topper on. I just rolled it up. I was able to do it myself. Didn't take a whole lot of effort. I just have the tarp on the back right now because of that back hole that's still here. But I have the window that would be going in. That's it there. So that'll be going in the back, possibly in the spring, maybe on a nice day next week because we're getting plus temperatures again. So yeah, for height wise, it's almost Perfect. So that covers the pretty much the majority of all the trailer, the camping trailer build, which yeah, it's taken a few years to get done. But I'm never in a hurry. So many projects on the go always. One of the big ones coming up is getting the dog pool back up. A lot of heavy snow this year collapsed it more than it usually does. So a bit of work of that coming up. Once the weather gets nicer, as you can see, there's still snow on the ground here, and quite the cold day. So that covers pretty much all the trailer. Once I get it completed on the inside, which isn't far off, I could go camping in it now. Well, when it gets warmer, I do have a diesel heater. But yeah, so thanks for watching that build series. And following this will be the beginning of camper or gladiator truck camper. I guess is version 3. Yeah, and the things that went wrong with the second version, or things that I'm improving from the second version, and then where I'm going with version 4, which I'll be working on probably later this summer. Just a few changes to make it better. Nothing wrong with finding some faults in it and correcting those, and just making it a better unit. So thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe, and I appreciate your time. Take care. Be safe.